Welcome to Land Academy. I'm Jack Butala.
I'm Jill Dewit.
We show you how to buy real estate for half of what it's worth.
And sell it on the internet really fast.
We are Jack and Jill,
and this is the Jack and Jill Show too.
With over 15,000 completed transactions, we're the experts at acquiring property.
Of all kinds, not just land.
For half price and flipping them for way more.
All right, let's get this show started.
Jack Butala and Jill Dewit.
Hi.
Welcome to our show today. In this episode, Jill and I talk about cross-marketing with tiny house people, with the tiny house industry. You know, I didn't make this title up. They called me.
I know.
Before we really get into it, though, let's take a question posted by one of our members on the landacademy.com online community. It's free.
Okay. Claire asked, while looking at a county, I noticed that a golf course, Property Owners Association, POA, owns a whole bunch of its own land. POA dues are $900 a year. Would you say these are bad signs? Jack?
Okay. It depends on the kind of investor you are. Mm-hmm. The good news is that you can get pretty much cheap to free land on a golf course. Right by buying it right from the HOA, Homeowners Association, Property Owners Association, or LOA, Landowners Association. So is that a bad thing? No, that's not. Mm-hmm. It's never bad to buy cheap property. Or in this case, probably almost free property.
Right.
Do we do it anymore a lot? Not really, because we find we've got much larger fish to fry. But Claire, God bless her, she's one of our original members, is just knocking it out of the park. And I think for her, that'd be perfect because she tends to really look into things and she's very detail-oriented. So to answer your question directly, Claire, no, I think it's a great thing.
Yeah.
I would concentrate a little bit more on finding out how much property is actually out there on the market. If it's oversat, it's all the regular logical stuff applies. If there's a ton of property that it's real cheap and it's not getting sold, let's say on LandWatch or LandPin or anywhere else, that would concern me. But if there's only a couple lots and they're all 10 grand, jump in.
Exactly.
And I think I would, since, whenever there's a situation where you can go back to the well, where there's a bunch of property and you just know it's going to be there for quite some time, don't buy a ton of it. Buy 3, 4, 5 properties. See how it goes. Right. See what the reaction is. Hey, by the way, on these HOAs, they will almost always write it down to zero if you ask them. If you say, hey, I'm not going to buy these properties because there's a bunch of accumulated liens or fees on them. Right. If you go in and say, Jill's an expert at this. She did it. I can name 3 places she's done it in the last few years. I'm sorry, we would love to buy your stuff. My checkbook's open. You got to write the liens down to zero.
And I'll buy several.
Yeah.
That's my thing. I'll buy a chunk of them. What can we make? What can we work out together? And they'll negotiate.
You can really hardball that.
They can't, and what they'll do though, they can't mess with the taxes traditionally, but with the HOA fees, they sure can.
Yeah, and in some very rare cases, the county will write the taxes down.
Very rare.
They're concerned about it.
I hate to. Yeah. So I wouldn't count on that one, but I would certainly go to bat on the HOA fees or the POA fees and all that.
And here's why. The county can't do it because they have an obligation to fulfill state statutes on how they get property back onto a tax roll. And writing it down to zeros.
Not one.
Unless they've already done it through the board of states. I don't want to get into it. It's beyond the scope of this. But
exactly.
If you have a question or you want to be on the show, reach out to either one of us on landacademy.com, soon to be landinvestors.com. Today's topic, cross-marketing with the tiny house industry. This is how this came up.
Okay, I'm ready.
There's various websites out there about this tiny house movement, which I call, really the RV movement, but this generation likes these tiny houses instead of just going to buy an RV on Craigslist. But is what it is. My whole point of this show is, and I'm sure Jill, because she's all sales and way more salesy than I am, there's lots of different ways to liquidate this property versus just slapping it up on Zillow and Trulia and LandPin and LandWatch. They contacted me and said, we're selling a lot of tiny houses, and all these houses that we're selling, they don't
need
know
a place to put them.
They don't know where to put them besides a Walmart parking lot.
Right.
And who wants to live in a Walmart?
Or their grandmother's backyard, and they don't even want to live next to their grandmother.
Right.
Exactly.
So we are investigating or taking a look at cross-marketing with them, and even actually maybe like funding a show where they build one. And they build it on our land or walk through the process of... So I'd love to know what our listeners think about that, or if you have any experience with that.
Right.
or if you're a member.
Well, we do have some members. Remember, we have an Airstream member who has an Airstream model. We're finding them, fixing them up, and making them like a VRBO or an Airbnb on the property. I know we have a member doing that, and I know someone who has like vacationed in the Bay Area and done that. There's a person up there, and it's just like gorgeous and really cool and fun. So there's two plays there. One could be an Airbnb type of scenario, have several of them in an area where people want to go stay and check out.
Right.
And then the other one could be your long-term personal use. Pop your own tiny house right there, and gosh, isn't that great? Nowadays you could just roll up and park it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the greatest thing on the planet. It used to be, I remember starting out, and people didn't know how to get water. Well, you learned you didn't have to do a well. You could have a big tank and have water delivered and trucked in. But then there's the power issue. And then all these other issues, and all of that stuff over the last many years.
Last 5 years.
Yeah, has really gone away. And it's, and now, I mean, like, we joke about HGTV and their shows sometimes, but I mean, they have a show and it's a real deal. I mean, people are doing it.
So if you don't know by now, Texas has really, in our favor as investors, changed the rules about modular/mobile housing. It used to be, and traditionally, most parts of the country, the law, in the eyes of the law, mobile homes and modular homes are the same. And traditionally, it's not my opinion, but like or not, there's not a lot of people are in favor of putting up a new mobile home park where they live.
Right.
It's not my opinion, it's theirs. So because that's changed now, and Texas has kind of really loosened up the regs, and because of technology, we can put a solar system on top of a tiny house.
Right.
You can accumulate rainwater, or you can. There's a lot of ways you can create water.
Right.
My point is, there's a lot. It's very conceivable to have an off-the-grid type subdivision with 1 acre properties. You throw you could do a whole area like this, and throw a bunch of tiny houses on there, modular houses, and really live off the grid, truly.
Well, there's two other things, too, I just thought about that have made this way more feasible for a lot of individuals. One is technology, having internet, everywhere. It's getting better and better and more consistent.
Yeah.
So that's not an issue. And then, now we all have hotspots on our own phones. You never really have to think about it.
Right.
So which is fantastic. And I use it all the time. I don't even use it when I'm in some places, in the public places. I just use my own hotspot.
Yeah.
Because it's safer and it's great. The other thing is the traditional, I hear more and more people, and the traditional going to the office, there's a lot of companies that don't have that, including major companies. We're talking like American Airlines has remote people that do reservations that do it from their home.
Yep.
Well, they could be doing it from their home in the middle of the woods in Colorado.
Right.
Kind of thing. And a lot of companies are doing that, and it's great. It saves on the overhead for the company, and the employees love it. And there's no commute.
Yeah, the telecommuting thing is not going away.
Right, and that's why these WeWorks and all those places are popping up too. Because, if you need an office now and then, you want to go in somewhere, you can. You need a conference room now and then, you can. Otherwise you don't. It's great.
So the whole point to this show is, and it's not just about tiny houses. There are lots of places and lots of ways to market this land.
Yes.
Or to expose. Everybody loves cheap property. Think about that for a second.
Right.
All right? If you're into this from a career standpoint, or even a hobby standpoint, or you're just listening because for some reason you're listening to this show, I don't know why.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
There are who doesn't like buying property that's way less than its actual real value? Think about
so
that. That's
nice.
what we do.
I don't have to. You don't have to try to shove it in a safe. It's not like It's awesome.
There's many outlets. Jill and I are working on a tech product where you buy a piece of property. Let's say it's a house. You buy it like we buy it, under value, and you notify everybody within a 1 mile radius. Several different ways. You notify them by mail. You notify them by URL location on Google with AdWords. Mm-hmm. You notify them by Facebook or zip code. So if you can effectively buy a piece of property and notify people within, very efficiently notify people that it's for sale, and it is very underpriced, somebody's going to buy it real quick.
Do you know how we're not notifying them?
Smoke signals?
By knocking on the door.
Yeah. You don't want to do that anyway.
No, we're not doing that.
Only because it's not efficient.
Exactly.
And it's annoying as hell.
I'm not driving around with business cards saying, hey, do you know what I have? No.
Remember when we were kids, the encyclopedia people would come?
Oh, my goodness, yes, I do. And you always did. Your parents always did. And they had the gold, remember the gold leaf edging on them?
And it was college kids that were doing it
Britannica.
in summer. During the summer, so they could pay theoretically get their tuition paid.
Right.
And so that then you were guilted into it.
Yeah, pretty much. It's kind of like Girl Scout cookies.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Girl Scouts cookies.
Exactly.
Join us in another episode where Jack and Jill discuss how to use information, that's me,
And inspiration, that's me.
to get just about anything you want.
We use it every day to buy property for half of what it's worth and sell it immediately.
You are not alone in your real estate ambition. I am so personally intrigued, and I don't think I conveyed it, about this off-the-grid thing.
Oh.
I think that it's the way of the future, and I think there's so much inefficiencies. It was necessary in the past. There are so many inefficiencies to connecting a huge network, whether it's sewer lines or electricity or anything like that.
You know what I love? Say, I love when off-the-grid living goes from, this happens in all kinds of things. It went from, oh, you're a prepper and you're a weirdo, to now I'm efficient and I'm living the way I should live, and I recycle and I do all these things. Now it's like, it's a cool in thing, went from weirdos to cool.
Yeah. It's always weirdos in the beginning.
Right, that's true.
Change is always, what the heck is that guy doing over there?
Right.
And then it becomes, wow, that's a good idea.
Exactly.
Elon Musk has this thing called a power wall, and it looks like the size of like 4 phone books. Mm-hmm. If you know what a phone book is, probably not even.
Yeah, you need to come up with a better description than that.
It looks like an encyclopedia.
Great. Keep going. It looks like a textbook.
Yeah,
if you still have textbooks, because even those,
now it's cool because Elon Musk is cool, and you put a couple of solar panels up there, and it stores, and you can run a couple of houses off of it. Very efficiently.
You want to say who Elon Musk is, or you think everybody knows?
Oh, if you don't know who Elon Musk is, there's problems.
All right.
And you're listening to this show because this is entrepreneurial stuff.
Okay.
Elon Musk owns Tesla, and he also created and then sold Yahoo. And he owns a company called Space Something, where he's literally people go into space. Regular people like us can get a ticket, buy an airline ticket into space, which they have not launched yet. Pretty cool.
Thank you.
Information and inspiration to buy undervalued property.
Can't wait to see the people walking behind us and the stuff.
We are Jack and Jill, and this was the Cash Flow from Land Show.
We are the experts at acquiring property
Of all kinds, not just land.
for half price, just so we can flip it for way more.
And really fast. Thanks for listening. You are not alone in your real estate ambition.